Welcome to round 7 of the SC Hubs podcast for Captain Hindsight. My name is Munster Mash, also known as Rob. Thanks for joining me once again. Round 7. Jeez. We are a quarter of the way through the season, and yeah, onwards and upwards. Now it was a hell of a round 7 was. We're into round 8. Anzac Day games. Absolutely fantastic. Cannot wait for tomorrow's games of footy. We've got 3 of them on Friday, so it's going to be excellent. Yeah, really looking forward to it. Before we dive into the armband options, though, for this week, once again, if you guys could like and subscribe to the SC Hubs YouTube channel, watch all of the videos that we do put out. Look, anything that you guys do, it does help us get that content into your hands, and yeah, all very, very helpful. So yeah, make sure to check out the other videos. I know that the breakdown guys were recording last night and went for a couple of hours. Looks like it was a fantastic one. So please check that out. But we're here to talk about captains. And I first of all want to apologize. I've been a bit of shorter time this week, so it's going to be a bit more basic compared to the usual stuff, but we'll dive in anyway. So our choices for the armbands last week were Ryan Pappenhausen into Payne Haas. Now, we didn't have bad scores per se. 85 is certainly respectable for a captaincy choice, but there were some options that did go bigger, and yeah, we missed those. And it was probably the main one that most people would have headlined, captained, that scored well was Nathan Cleary. He bounced back with a 116, which is very nice for those that put the armband on him. But there were some other very, very big scores last week, topped by my man, Greg Marzhew, with absolute beast mode performance with tackle busting. He put up a 138. I don't think anyone saw that coming. Yeah, just an absolute monster performance. There was also a few other great performances out there. Shout out to Hudson Young, who once again scored a double and is absolutely flying in SuperCoach. If anybody actually jumped on him about a month ago, well done. My hat's off to you. He's scored very, very well. But these are guys that we probably wouldn't have put armbands on, and that's what we're here to talk about. So, yeah, we did all right with our captaincies, but we're here to pick our captains for round 8. So, as I said, apologies for a little bit more basic compared to what we normally have. So there are 4 main names that I wanted to look at this week. That's because there's a few other names that I've discounted because of we've covered them a few times now. So Terrell May, Payne Haas, we know what those guys are going to put out each week. I wouldn't blame anyone for throwing the captaincy on them and just sticking for the rest of the year, specifically Terrell. Though I do think both of them probably play Origin, so that may affect things during that period. But look, they're putting out great scores each and every week. I do not blame anyone for covering those and for just putting your armbands on them. But that's not what we're here for. We're chasing the upside. So yeah, the 4 names that I wanted to talk about this week are James Tedesco, Ryan Pappenhausen, Scotty Drinkwater, and Nathan Cleary. Now, based on the top 5% of coaches and what they've picked so far this week, there's a very, very clear choice, and it does match what we have of Ryan Pappenhausen VC and C of Nathan Cleary. But I'm going to cover, those few other options that people might be looking at that are a little bit tempting if you want to do something different. And that's what we need to do if we want to catch up to those guys up the tippy top. So we'll first off cover James Tedesco. He's had a 20-25 average of 80, but he does particularly like playing against the Dragons. We can see here that in the last couple of years, he's put up 2 tons, including that big one of almost 150. That was last year. But the big thing for him is if you look at those 2 scores of 81 and 75 from the last 2 years, they were from the Anzac games. So he doesn't tend to score big in the Anzac games. They are very respectable scores, and I don't think they would be something you'd turn your nose up at for captaincies, but they aren't those big scores. So even though he does have an average of his last 6 games, it's like almost 100. So he is going particularly well at the moment, and it's one of those things that I just don't know. I think with his history of just not going massive in these, sorry, and just I need to clarify there. His last 6 games are against that's his last 6 games against the Dragons. He's averaged almost 100, but yeah, there's no big ones in the Anzac game. So I do think it'll be a close one. So I think if you are going to go with James Tedesco, it'd be a VC only, and that's if you're keen on somebody like a Ryan Pappenhausen with the straight C. The other people I'd like to mention for VC that I haven't covered in this table are a couple of options from the Bulldogs. If you are looking at putting a C on Ryan Pappenhausen, it's Karaz. I think will have a very good game against the Broncos tonight, as well as Preston. I think both of those guys will score pretty well this week. So if you want to throw a flyer VC on someone from the Thursday game, I personally really like Karaz, especially with the shift. There's like the differences in the Broncos backline. I don't think Selwyn Cobbo would organise the backline as well as Reece Walsh does. Not that he does it amazingly, but I think Cobbo would be worse. So yeah, I don't mind a sneaky VC on Karaz. But as I mentioned there, C Pappenhausen. I think that would be something that a lot of people will be quite pretty happy with. And with the news that somebody like a Walker is out for the Bunnies, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting Bunny side that lines up. And I don't think they're going to break their duck against Melbourne. Sorry, in Melbourne. It's just one of those things that I just don't think it's going to happen. And as you can see here from my notes, currently the Bunnies do concede the most points out of anyone to fullbacks in SuperCoach. Pappy's having a great year. While I don't think he's not gone massive against the Bunnies too much in the past, if he's got the goal kicking tonight on Friday, is it a Friday game? Let me double check. Sorry. Yes, it's the late one on Friday. If he's goal kicking on that Friday game, he could score anything. So that's why I quite like him at least having one of the armbands, whether it's a VC or the straight C. Is it going to be, has to be one of your choices, in my opinion. The dark horse for this week is Scotty Drinkwater. He's, it's had a bit of an up and down season, not gone massive yet, while being fairly consistent around that 70 to 80 mark. But the reason why we had to include him in the stats for this week were due to his scores against for North Queensland against the Titans in North Queensland. In his last 3 games, he's got a couple of big scores. So he's got a 144, which was last year. He's got a 102 from 2022. Didn't play them in 23, but he has the ability to go big against the Titans, who have traditionally been not great against fullbacks. They're middle of the pack this year so far, but over the last few years have not been great against fullbacks, with SuperCoach points being conceded, and Scotty's done it against them as recently as last year. I do feel he's got a very big score coming up very, very soon. And for that reason, I've actually personally brought him into my own SuperCoach team. It was him or Tedesco, and with Teddy being on the bye in a couple of weeks, I've gone Drinky instead. But I'm personally not throwing any armbands on him, but I wouldn't blame anybody that did, because there's a big score coming, and it's whether or not you get that week that he does it. So, and I think it could very well be this week against the Titans. So, but we'll have to wait and see. And then who I think is going to be very, very clearly the most popular captaincy choice, Nathan Cleary. He bounced back in a great way last week, as we covered. He went 100 plus in a very sort of dominant Panthers display that really sort of brought back echoes of what they have been like in the last few years. And he's coming up against a Manly side that do have Tommy Turbo back, but what that sort of means, I guess we're not quite sure from a defensive point of view. So they've Manly have copped their own injuries. There's a couple of middles out. I know they've lost Jason Saab as of today. So yeah, Nathan could be ripe to take advantage of a not full strength Manly side. And we can see here actually from his last 5 games against Manly, he's actually got 300 plus scores in there. So I think, yeah, for that reason, and the fact that he's in the middle of the round, Nathan Cleary, I think we just got to roll with him again as the captaincy, as we do many weeks. I think he's the most popular choice, and for good reason. So that pretty much covers us for this week. We're rolling in through the season. We're doing quite. We're already a quarter of the way through, and we're into this massive Anzac Day weekend. So good luck for everybody with your super coaching. We've got the buy rounds around the corner, so keep that in the back of your mind as well. Please like and subscribe to the SC Hub YouTube channel. And if you haven't, jump in the Discord. I'm not going to crap on about it every week, but it's just such a fantastic resource. But anyway, good luck for everybody in round 8 with your super coaching, and we'll catch you next week.